Damn, I forgot how bouncy these things are. Yeah, I got too late of a jump or a start. What am I thinking? Just habit. You know what? Now I get the tick's battle cry. This is a hell of a weapon. Don't mess with me, man. I'll scoop your eyeballs out. One apple don't get it done. My breakfast was an apple. Or my first, the breakfast was an apple. Get here soon enough, just about the time that I'm watching them turn the lights off. Anyway, I'll just have to come back out here next week with my 3D camera. See, the lights are still on. slows at 10:45. How does that thing hold up in the high winds? Eventually it'll probably get ripped out of there. Should I be worried that the lid is off on this thing? All right, 22:48. Lights are still on. sir. I would say that somebody was going in there trying to pull out the cans and bottles. But there was a can in there. Alright, 5 minutes till. The guy's gonna camp out there for the night. The same guy. Called the shelter house. It was designed for works project administration guys to have a place to, I guess, rest up. Maybe they were sleeping there. Nearly 100 years later, it's still being used for that purpose. The irony. Since I can't get the city to do it, I'm gonna do it myself. I'm gonna buy like some metal stickers. Metal stickers with like a barcode or something on it, and some and engraved dashes. It'll probably be like 300 bucks. And I'll start mapping these lights, and I'll start putting a numbering system together. So far I think I'm just going to do it like Super Mario Brothers. If there's a marker, if it says BLT 132, maybe I'll just go counterclockwise, since that's what I do anyway. And I'll say, like this light would be BLT 132-1. And then just keep going up like that. And then every time I hit a marker, it resets. I think there's about 4 lights between each marker, but I have to map them out in advance. That's going to be interesting. That's another project, I guess. You say, why doesn't the city do that? And as I said before, you just have to start assuming that there's no city. We're on our own. If you got a strong community, this is not a problem. If you're just a community of one, it's a major project. Actually, I'm not a community of one. There is a group I can run this by. So like, okay, so this will be BLT 134, and then this is dash 1. And then that's dash 2, dash 3. And the reason for the barcode is I'll put a QR code on there, and the QR code will take you to Google Earth, and the Google Earth will have the map, and the map will have all of the different, you know, it'll say, hey, here's this one. Hell, I might get cute with it. I might put some photos. This is gonna be a bad storm. You know, old people say, I can feel it in my bones. Okay, so there are 5 markers. There are 5 lights between each marker. What's that thing? This would technically be 6, but I'm right here. I don't know. I'll figure it out. Let's make it 6. Okay, well, there you go. 2 minutes passed and they turned them off. Let's see, you said that was 1. This is 2. To this. Sometimes they put 6 of them in, and sometimes they put 5. How long would that take me? A month. I'm not going to do it all at once. I would just do, or maybe I could do it all at once. No, I'm not going to do it all at once. It would take too long. I'll do one leg each time I go. So every week I just pop, map one side, Bop, 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 map the other side, north, west, you know, north, south, east, and west. Should I have to do it that way? It would be nice if there was a I don't know, it'd be fun. Fun in a boring accountant way. Alright, so they had the ribbon cutting yesterday. Does that mean they opened up the trail? Or does it simply mean they had a ribbon cutting ceremony? Because this is Dallas. Just because we had a ceremony doesn't mean that everything's done. Alright, here we go. The best and worst healthiest cities in America, which is not really saying much. Dallas got a ranking of 83 out of like 150 cities, so right in the middle of the pack. Healthcare was atrocious at 110 out of 150, so almost sucking hind, or leading the pack of sucking hind tit. What was the only thing that gave them a good score? It was they got a 44 out of 150. It was, what section was that? It was something I didn't think about. It wasn't green spaces. We were atrocious there too. There's something obscure. I think it was access to healthy food or something. It was like something that shocked me. I was like, really? I kind of glossed over it and didn't commit it to memory. I just remember the ranking was 44 out of 150. She's a Kung Fu master. Well, I guess it is open. Oh, Dad, I'm sorry you missed this. Probably put a little slope here. That's kind of funny, I guess. Oh, that's for these boat people. You know, they get whatever they want. So, so they moved it over. It used to be, it's different. It's definitely different. I got a playground over here. definitely be coming back here next week with the 3D camera. So what's that all about? That's the path not traveled, I guess. Maybe it takes you to the skate park. That's what I gotta imagine. That's what it looks like. So they look like they boomed it out a little bit more. It used to be all asphalt back there. It was this old 70s asphalt. This hill is still here. Not a terrible graded hill, it's just a hill. I probably should have went that way. But I think that's the trail. We'll loop back around. There's no law that says we can't. Make a game out of it. Get sick, you know, like I said, make it a solid 6. They put rocks up against it. It used to be grass. That is an erosion control. That's I guess you can't. I mean, I guess you could fish off of this. Yeah, they just put rocks up here. I'm a little cynical. I wonder how long it'll be before, like, that's defaced or somebody takes the rocks or something. Something stupid happens. That's my big worry. All right, so the skate park is still open. The way it was told to me was they're supposed to lock up. Like, the gates are supposed to automatically close at 11:30. Or I mean at 10:30. Here it is. I'll loop back around, we'll see. The lights are still on. All right. Something to test out. You know, this is the only place I've ever been where I have watched the transitions. Now I remember, yeah, that was the recycle yard. People would bring him, like, stolen scrap. And it got to the point where he had to start turning them down. And I guess they pushed him out. Or they bought him out, whatever it was, but they might have rezoned it or whatever. That's what happened to that. I just never noticed. So you can still run up and down the levee, I think. Let's see what the other side looks. Yeah, you can still run up and down the slope of this levee. It looks like they softened the grade though. I'm gonna see. Like I said, they put concrete and rocks over here. And they completely wiped out all of this over here. Yeah, they changed something. So this is like a wetland over here, and you go down and you look, it'll be more visible during the day. I will definitely see the difference. But you see behind there, sometimes I would catch like campfires and encampments over there. The guy said, yeah, DFR doesn't like it when you put campfires over there. And I was like, well, DFR wasn't going to do anything about it. That was back when I didn't know. Had I made the call, it'd have been there in 10 minutes. Bam! Hey, I can't be doing that. They said they found some cars back there. But yeah, I can see it clear as day now. Yeah, they changed something. Man. God, I remember how narrow this was. Man, if I could still run, I would be doing hills. This This is what they mean by being born in the wrong time period. Yeah, they softened this. So it was a drop off, and they have softened this. I would tell people now, hey, come down here and do hills. And people were walking all down this way because they didn't want to deal with that hill that way. Like they you know, some people are just lazy. That's really the best way I can put it, is lazy. I wasn't planning on doing much of this detail. Yeah, they completely changed this. I just didn't notice. So they put grass down here and it finally took. Yeah, this is not the same. I'm gonna have to come down here during with my 3D. Yeah, this is completely different. Okay, so what they did, there were trees here and they wiped out all of the trees. And then here's the creek that goes through here. And I have never been this close to it before. Because there used to be a tree here. There used to be a tree line here. And now you can see it. I'm afraid that if I step down here any further, my foot's gonna go through. Or I'm gonna run into a bed of water moccasins. Okay. Yeah, they changed this. It's completely different. And the cool thing is, so they followed also the principles of Septed. By clearing all of this out, there's nowhere to hide. The only thing is, there's no lighting. But there's enough lighting to where you can kind of, like, you can't hide through here anymore. If you want to do hills, baby, you can do it. Yeah, this this is hills. This is good hill training. They made the grade softer, but they made it longer. Man, whew, this will wear your ass out. So you get to this part, you recover, come, up, jog a little bit, get that, turn. Man, I envy whoever. I'll have to ice down my back later. I'm gonna try some hill training. And so that keeps me from, well, it almost keeps me from going to Watauga. Watauga's a whole other animal. It's a quarter to a half mile of a hill. It's like what Jerry Rice used to run. And they're right, it does give you a lot of stamina. You know, that's why I'm able to do hours of digging and walking and messing around. I don't like this. That's a lot closer than it was. Fishermen are gonna love that though. That part they're gonna take that out. Now look at this, grade separated. This is what I want to put on the green belt. It's a cap for a what do they call that? That's like they take readings and stuff. But this is nice. Potting. This is what I want. Potting soil, sand. Get like a ton of that, and I just start spreading it. I gotta get my war chest together. Oh I'm doing this in the dark. Yeah, it's not the same. That's the same distance. Okay, so where I'm standing right here, this was the old trail up to about here. You can see where that's where they extended out. So they flattened the hill because this was a lot taller. This was the hill, and then they flattened this out. They knocked it out, flattened it, and then put these rocks here. This is the addition. So like this, there wasn't a hill here. It was, you know what? Watch Mo videos. So now we got a new hill that comes up here. There wasn't a marker there before. And then you'd come here. Let's see if I can remember anything. 127, huh? Well, that's new. Okay. That's not bad. They give you a nice little... You can sit there and look at the trail. Yeah, right here was where the old... And the old hill went down that way. And see, they got rid of it. How long before these dingbats... Oh, they can't do it anymore. I mean, they could. You know, they're idiots. So, the trip, people would walk this way with their dog, and because they didn't want to walk the hill, they would just go that way and come back around. And now there's not really anywhere for them to do that anymore. Like, they designed it to where, look, aggressively telling you, look, we want you to stay on the trail. If you go down here, you're going to have a worse time. That was an interesting way to do it. It used to be a trail that way. An informal trail. So now it winds around. There's a railroad track that goes up there. Okay, still there. Alright. And now there's a light for Septet to show people, hey, you can't go over here. Yeah, they got somebody who knew what they were doing as far, I mean, that looked like they knew what they were doing on planning. They didn't have a light there before. Now, despite what Ryan told me, this is still a pretty wicked hill. It's softer, but it's longer and it weaves around. Yeah, they added some distance. This thing, we might get 3/4 of, or it might be 3.25. It was 3.25 before, so now it's 3.5, I think. I guess you could walk this way. All right. I mean, yeah, they'll probably try to walk that way. This is weird. So why do they got these bollards here? As if they don't want a truck to come through here. That's metal too. That's deep. There's a removable one. Are they planning on putting another track here? No, I'm just looking at this and I don't understand anything. There's this little spillway here. How long before that gets clogged? Alright, I'll come back through here a second time. That light's new. There's still some little nooks and crannies here and there that still trash down there. It's another project. But I think that's what they're going to be doing. Is I'm looking at this and they're not done with this pile. Looks like they're going to try to maximize all of this land. Yeah, you can tell, he was clear as day, man. What is that? So I was just over there. Some kind of grating. Gotta come here during the day. Oh, they took down the... Okay. So now they cut all of the... This is the fence that was protecting people. Or protecting something. They cut it all down. That was just a construction fence. They did this in 1 week. So this will be part of the biking trail, I guess. I don't know. I'm looking at this. I'm absorbing all of it. And I'm sure they had a plan on some obscure website that when you click on it, it sometimes works and it sometimes doesn't. But it works. Sometimes works. Always kind of redundant. We got a shopping cart down there. So this is all part of the, because they said they were clearing this out. Now I see what they were saying. Oh yeah, they did clear it out. Okay. So the part of the encampment was here. They got rid of the, there was also the pipe that was coming through here. There was some kind of drain pipe. Yeah, man, they really got after it. Yeah, they wiped it out. I wonder if they're done. Covered up some of the graffiti. Nope, not all of it though. Looks like they were kind of cleaning it out though. Got rid of the TV and all that other stuff that was over here. Still got the graffiti. Yeah. Fire can still here. So I guess the next question will be, there's a section of fence missing here. What are they doing over here? So I see they're planting these trees. They cleared all this out too. Man, what are you guys doing? Whatever it is, it's gonna be big. What would be neat? It's big enough for a jamboree. You could almost have Boy Scouts camping out. I don't know, they don't have Boy Scouts anymore. I keep forgetting. I say Boy Scouts like that's still a thing. You can have kids camping out here, I guess. Now that would terrify somebody. Here? No, not here. And I was like, yeah, here. Oh. Yeah, man, there's nowhere to hide. Hey, they did. This is all like septet stuff, man. They took ownership of the space. They put up lighting. They didn't put up great barriers, but at the same time, they make it look like it's maintained and that somebody's going to be coming through here. It looks like somebody cares about the space. It's not complete. I have no idea what they're doing with this. I see the trees. I didn't want to come back through here during the day. It seems like they're getting ready to put something else in here though. And here's another one of these driveways that we put bollards in. Do they plan on linking it with? Maybe. Do they plan on linking it with a skate park? That's the question I was going to ask. Well, there's a lot going on here. Yeah, and then there's, oh, there's a cat in there. Yeah, and then you look over here, it's a kitten. Like, they look like they were gonna put, is it a kitten? Whatever it is, it's tiny. It's a kitten. aren't you? Yeah, it looked like they were gonna put something here and then they changed their mind, but there's still a trail. This is called, we have the money allocated. Kitten's looking at me. What do you want? Shadow? Midnight? Midnight. I'm gonna call you 11:35. You were like 11:35. Well, that's when I encountered her. Cats don't have to have names that make sense. They're not gonna respond to them. This area is changing. This is me walking here at 11:30 at night, and you can see that the train station is well lit. This is well lit. I'd like to think that I had kind of a hand in that. I had mentioned it. This makes no sense. So technically, it's almost there. It's almost there, man. You can almost see it. Like, Dallas reluctantly will become a transit city. So the irony is, still got car brain, because this is locked. I've never seen it open. It's just there for decoration. They paid somebody. Yeah, well, okay. And this is the only thing that's depressing is I was kind of hoping that they were. I was telling. That's what I was saying to. What was they talking to? I was talking to Marco, I think. Marco, somebody. I said, y'all gonna leave that there, right? He says, nah. He said, they're getting on us already about it. He said, we want to. So there's your first jackass. Oh, sorry, it's a bus. We see right there. Make it a BRT. All right, Susanna, you wanted to know? Well, now you know. The gate is still open. It did not slam shut like it said it did. At least they told you. It says right here, hours 10 p.m. It's supposed to slam shut. All right, marker. It is now 23:37 on a Wednesday. This gate is very much ajar. This automatic gate is still open. Lights are on over there, so I think there's no crew, there's no cars, there's no trucks there. There's just they were supposed to shut this down. Like I said, it's supposed to be closed. It's not closed. Lights are still on. That's the other weird thing is I used to come out here. I came out here last week and it was dark. I'm glad they got the lights on. Don't get me wrong. It's, you know, it makes it look like somebody's actually here, but they didn't close the gate. Why am I not going further? Well, now that she told me that it slammed shut on me, I didn't want to. I don't want to get trapped in there. That's probably why the gate's open. Is it happened one time to somebody who was curious. They got locked inside. They complained, and they said, "Yeah, I can't do that. You have to have an FTE come out here. You have to have, an FTE come out here and tell people, hey, we're going to close the gate." City of Dallas said, we don't have the money, the budget, blah, blah, blah. We can't do it. So the solution is just to leave the damn thing open for reasons. I don't know. I'm just looking at that and I'm like, okay. They're gonna leave it open to get vandalized and destroyed. Now, the reason I'm walking around like this is I'm trying to find out where that new trail goes to. I guess I could just walk through there and take a look as I'm walking back this way. I'm trying to figure out if they linked it up with the skate park here. Is it my imagination, or did it get brighter over here? So they got a fence up there. They got fence posts up there. Here, wait a minute, what's this? What's this I see? Oh, I thought I saw a concrete path. Why is that bright light there? I'm not complaining, just observing. I mean, when they said, look, you need to create bright lights and make it look like people, you know, they lit up that stairwell. Like, you cannot. Darkness has no place here. No, it wasn't Marco. It was somebody from, I think, Parks or something. I was talking to them at the meeting, and they at one of these meetings. I said, man, can y'all leave that there? They said, no, they're getting on us about it. It would be nice. It would have been nice, but that meeting yesterday kind of taught me who runs Dallas. It's fat, sloppy guys that run tire shops. So, you may not like it, but that's just the way it is. Let's go in here to see if there, oh my God, there is nothing here. All this time I thought there was a gate here. When somebody cut out the bollards. That was done with an angle grinder. So anyway, all of this used to be the YMCA camp. I guess Dallas took this over. So it's a trail that makes no sense. Why am I being a nosy Nancy? Because I'm just trying to figure out. Trying to figure out how security is going to work here. How long is that going to stay well lit like that? This is me going through here on day one. all the YMCA camp. The building used to be right there. They used to have a basketball court and everything. Got a zombie walking through there. But see, this is the point I'm trying to make. What are they thinking over here? Okay. So yeah, I see what's going on. Okay. Yeah, those guys are camping out over there. They've driven them out everywhere else. That's just that one guy. Maybe he's just drunk and trying to sleep it off. And this leads to the trail for... See, now that's what I mean. It's like somebody wasted all this money on these ironworks for gates that'll never open. This has been here a while. You can tell by the spider webs. And once again, these dingbats put a lock on it. You lock the places that people can walk to, and then leave the fucking gate open before people can drive through. Makes no goddamn sense. You could have somebody drive up there with a truck, go in there, take all of the ballasts out of the lights. They can rent, they can just cut, you know, they take whatever they want, and then drive on up on out of there. Who is it you're trying to keep out? Anyway. Oh, look at that. The rowing club has their little rack over here. I don't know, it's confusing. I see what's going to happen though. I get it now that this... So the rowing club probably knows more about this. They're going to, and I need to ask them from the bottom link once again. This, in fact, that's what this is. This was the Bachman rowing club. I guess this is where they're going to put their stuff. They're going to build a boathouse over there. They're going to be able to take this little trail here to that brand new dock that they put up. That's what that is. Okay. I do know about this. I didn't, it was in one ear out the other because I don't boat. I don't do any of that stuff. I don't care about that. I'm sure they got locked and everything. Because homeboy over here, you know, hadn't even been a day. Hasn't even been a day. There's a guy getting ready to do something he ain't supposed to be doing. I don't know. Maybe he's just like me. I cannot hear shit. I guess they can take this up now. stupid about this. I said to myself, well, I'm not gonna be out here that long. God, I'm stupid. So with them putting this in, it's official. There are no remnants of the old trail. This is the only trail that I couldn't come on while they were building it. Because I already know what they do. They put this thing down here, and then this asphalt's like 4 inches thick. I was there the last time when they did that other leg, and they had the concrete they were laying down. The rebar was all over the place. What do you think about the homeboy that was over there? I think it was just a drunk. I think it was a guy maybe having an argument with his girlfriend or something, wife. He just needed a place to chill and clear his head. So he just decided to come over here. Walk through the forest like I guess he's used to doing that. Maybe he's just a curious asshole like I am. Ah. Who are they? Sometimes I think they're city employees. I don't know. They might be skateboarders too. Maybe they're the guys who lock up after the fact. I'll turn around and look at it. It'll probably take me 7 minutes. Like I said, the lights are still on. Maybe the guy was saying something to me and I couldn't hear him through the wind and earbuds. I'm having this conversation with myself and I don't think anybody's going to hear it. Anyway. They kind of took out what made Bachman though. This was like, that was the whole reason you go this direction. This is the hard way. This is the way they had all the no, I'm sorry, the other way. You go clockwise. It has all those uphills. And I will try, like I said, I try to make plans, but somebody else imposes on those plans, always. And they don't see, you know, I need stuff scheduled. I don't need you to come in here and spontaneously say, hey, I need you to come do this for me. And then they get, like I said, they get their panties in a wad because I don't do things half-assed and random like they do. Think about all the millions of dollars that went into this. It's been 10 years. It's been 11 years since they did that part over there. And with this, Bachman is now, this is the new era of Bachman. This is not, like I said, it's not my dad's Bachman. He didn't live to see this. What's up, Birdie? I just depressed myself a little bit. I wish Dad could have said I'd seen this. That's all I'm saying. He ran around here for years on the narrow trail that was jagged and weird and missing in some places. And he had a whole crew that would. There was. It's funny to me that at the time when there was more community, there was worse stuff. And now I'm sitting here at 11:30 at night. It's midnight. Yeah, I'm sitting here at midnight, walking around this very widened trail. But here's the big ass but. The big warded, hairy ass but. You can't get here easily by alternate methods other than car. Like, it looks nice, yeah, you know, the trail's complete, it's wide, and you can ride bikes on it, and you do everything, it's multi-purpose. But how do you get here? Now, I guess technically what I'm supposed to be able to do is I can take the rail down here on my bike, they drop me off, and then I have to try to get across Denton. That might be a reason to get a bike. That hump there. Anyway, there's a compost heap over there. It's part of some project that people long since forgot about. There's a compost bin. So like the transformer's got a flickering light. Transformer station. Kind of indicates that, you know, maintenance isn't being done. Now, why did they keep this section here? The only thing I can think is people riding their bikes super fast. It would be better for you to crash into that fence and get hurt pretty bad than ride off into the traffic and get killed. Really, it's just like I said, so the drivers can feel good. But it is one of the weird parts about Bachman Lake is that you see me walking on this multi-use path, and I am basically walking on Denton. Like the park is, people who use the park are now being put out on a section where they are not protected. They aren't isolated from car traffic. It's just a weird design. It's something that Dallas does. And you might be enjoying all of that nature and all that sweetness and that quiet, some of the quiet, and then you're tossed out here. A dump, electrical transformer stations, a loud ass rail, an arterial for, you know, for 4-lane arterial for traffic. It's just jarring. You know, it's funny, they put this trail here and people still run through there. And that's what's going to happen to the spillway that they just did over there. Nice new trail, widened out and everything. And people still do what they want to do. In fact, okay, that is the only remnant of old Bachman. Maybe that's why they keep doing it, because they've been here a long time and they remember when there wasn't much here. And they'll continue to run through there because their brain is just locked into 2008 Bachman. You know, the funny thing is sometimes you'll see people going both directions running into each other on that narrow, worn out grass path. Should the city listen to them and put something there? They're not going to. Even I can't. I'm like, they gave you a perfectly good path here. You didn't want to take it, you didn't want to take it. No, we're not going to waste the money. It does make me wonder what Dallas will be like in 10 more years. I mean, I know what it is now, broken, corrupt. You know, Dallas is not Gotham City. Dallas is Gotham City's cousin that rides the small bus. We don't get Batman, we get we don't get Batman, we get Hat Dude. Oh man. Now I'm humbled. They got this rail here that first it's on here. What are you supposed to happen here? This is what I mean, like I don't know who was doing what. Alright, well. Like, was someone seriously trying to steal the bar? That took some gun. That took a crowbar and some will. They were trying. The way they got wore out, they said, "Oh man, this is tough." They stopped trying to bend. Okay, and then it bends in there. I don't think this was malicious. I think maybe they had some kind of shift or something. Well, that's still holding. No, I've just accepted, like I said, is someone else I know has the time and the energy and the will and the anger and the contacts to take care of something like that. I don't. Today is a work day for me. And on the weekend when you hobnob, or on the weekend when you network and get this stuff scheduled to get fixed, I'm going to be working. Anyway, my next project is to come through here. Yeah, I can do this. What I'll do is I'll it never ends, does it? Yeah. Yeah, I think I could come in here with a, I don't know, we'll figure it out. I'm thinking about getting a set of bolt cutters come down here, like I said, with an iron stake, and I guess screw it into the ground with an eye bolt, and then take and find out a way to crimp that. And in other words, do what the utility company won't do. Or I can simply put in a complaint, utility complaint. They'll close it out saying they don't know anything about it, and then I put in a complaint on top of the complaint. And then they try to close that out, and then I go up above that. You see, that's what happens when you have the time and energy to fight these things. Is they tell you no, and you keep going until you find somebody that'll tell you yes. No is the answer to the lazy and the uninspired. But you see right there, and that's why I'm saying I do it myself, because I started doing a cost-benefit analysis, and I was like, okay, so it takes me an hour, you know, it takes me 15 minutes to put the report together because the site sucks. Put the report together. I'm going through all my emails, that's another 15 minutes, that's 30 minutes. They say no, then I got to do the thing all over again. So that's another 30 minutes, so that becomes an hour. They might say no again. So 90 minutes get spent on this. And in 90 minutes, like I was talking about there, I can sit here and I can spend some of my own blood and treasure, and I can just pound a stake into the ground, tie that wire into that, and it'd probably take me about an hour. And that's why you see me digging up sidewalks, picking up trash, or just taking care of something myself. Things I remember jogging around there and that being flooded, and then they put this new trail in. And I know somewhere in my collection of videos you'll see me walking on the old trail, and then you'll see me walking here when they were building the new trail. And I can't watch my old videos because it's like I've got image stabilization on this camera, and it looks like I'm just calmly walking through here, but I'm bobbing up and down and doing all this other stuff. And it's hard for me to watch my old videos. They're jumping all around. Some of my videos, you can see where it was Google recommended and performed. There was like their beta image stabilization program, and so the image looks steady, but for some reason, like all of the heads-up display on my clock is jumping around, on my camera's jumping around. Something looks off. It looks like you see me walking through there, but the whole world looks like a dream. Like I'm walking, I'm steady, and the trees are jumping up and down, and the sky's jumping up and down. Feels like that scene in Who Framed Roger Rabbit where he goes to Toonland and he's walking on the road and he's normal and stable and boring and bland, and then everything around him is dancing and jumping and moving up and down side to side. It's like you're in a dream, some kind of weird dream / nightmare cartoon world. And in the 10 years I've been walking, or I've been recording, image stabilization is very subtle. Like you just, I'm walking here and it looks stable. Now how do I know that image stabilization has changed? When I'm trying to get like fine details on something that I filmed, that's when you'll notice the image stabilization getting in the way. It makes letters look weird, like it makes letters look off. So when I first started, it was a 720p camera. And then I got up to 1080p and I thought, man, I'm somebody. And now I'm filming in 4K. And then I saw something on this video where the guy was trying to, he was a, maybe I'm just starting to see better. I never noticed that entrance before. It's kind of a nice building they got there. Anyway, maybe it's just a clear sky. But what I was saying was I noticed something on this video I was watching where the guy said, you know, the problem with lightsaber battles is they aren't realistic. So there was this sword duelist guy, he came out with his own video and it was really neat. Pointing out how like all you have to do is touch somebody and you damage them with a lightsaber. So he made a realistic sword fight with lightsabers. And I was looking at the making of. It was made by those guys. They were YouTube guys. They started out on YouTube. And their whole thing was showing how special effects are done. And their channel got a big following. And I don't know if they disappeared or what. I saw a couple of their videos and I thought, man, that's pretty neat. Or I don't know if they're making production stuff now. That's what YouTube fostered. Anyway, long story, to make a long story longer. One of the guys was filming that whole scene with them doing the duel, and he was using this DJI camera that looked like a chicken. It had a neck on it, and it had a little head on it, and when he moved up, the camera would move up. He moved down, it had a gimbal, and it locked into place. It was pretty neat, and I was like, man, someday I'd like to get something like that. I'd probably I get a chest-mounted camera, and while I'm walking around doing all my stuff, it's stable. I think about all the stuff I'm wearing right now. Hey, I'm not the only one who did this. There was a guy, I was looking at something about the history of porn, and there was a guy in New York. He would go around in a trench coat, and he had a backpack that had nothing but like car batteries on it, and he'd have that hooked into this video camcorder. The video camcorder was on some kind of weird shoulder mount, and I think he had a helmet with lights on it. His whole rig like it weighed about 80 to 100 pounds, and he would go down to New York, and he would basically hire a sex worker and film it while he was having sex with him in the alleys and stuff. Now, I know that's crude and everything, and you want to like, oh God, why'd you mention that? It was crude, but it was just weird how innovative it was in the fact that he put together his own rig and had a following. No, it scares me. I could do the same thing now. Go down to Harry Hines wearing this. I don't want to think about it. Pretty sure that guy died of AIDS or something. A lot tonight. Clean out the encampment. I cleared out the fence posts. Say the people who probably caught the benefit of that were probably the people who came in like 6 o'clock in the morning. They were walking around Bachman, and they saw all of that being was cleared out and open to the public. And The only thing is they probably had DPD camped out on some parts of it, and they were like blocking, saying, no, you can't go this way, you have to go another way. I come in here damn near 2 days later because, you know, life gets in the way. Bachman is for people with free time. What do you suppose the story is here? It's one of those. You know, I did give someone the, you know what, that's probably what it is. No, I keep thinking I have to come here at night, but I don't. I just need to come here at like 7 o'clock. Because they do a profoundly stupid thing, is you'll come in here and the lights are turned on during the day. The other thing they could be doing right now is, you know, I get that you're planting trees and everything, that's neat. They could have put a solar array over there. Put an iron fence over there like they did with the skate park. And the solar array could have charged some batteries, and the batteries would power the lights, the campus lights all night. It would be tied into a smart switch that, you know, does the DST changeover by itself. For the money they paid for it, it would have easily paid itself off after about 10 years. The city of Dallas is probably going to be here for another 10 years. It's worth the investment. It would have been neat, it would have been progressive. It's not a bad idea, actually. How much would that whole thing cost? I mean, these lights can't really, like, just do some research, find out how many watts, the kilowatt hours these lights consume. Multiply that by like maybe 2 or 3 units above whatever all of these draw. You know, find out how many of these there are, and then get your idea of the. See, that's. The gate's, it's open. So what I think happened was they were so focused on yesterday getting people to come over and do the thing that the park crew didn't really have, you know, like they couldn't do anything else. Or they were paying them overtime or whatever. And so the guy that's normally handling all this stuff, I guess he wasn't in today. He said, no, take the day off, you've already got too much overtime. Anyway, just thinking out loud. So I can't imagine this being more than 11 kilowatts. 11,000, yeah, 11 kilowatts. 11 kilo. I think to power this entire park, the lights alone probably is like 11 kilowatts. About the amount of power that one house consumes. So based on that, you can get, for about 40-50 grand, you can put together a battery system, an array, and a smart switch. Is that the same guy? No, it was a different guy. Looks like he's shaking off some interesting stuff. He was taking that new powerful method. Kind of bakes you pretty good. Well, I would clear all of the wood off of here, but I know what's going to happen. I know that the storm's going to come through here. This place is going to be a mess tomorrow. Maybe that's why they left things open, is that that guy would have somewhere to shelter out of the storm. What time is it? Almost 12:30. And here we go again. Is it out again? Looks like it. Well, looks like they just took it out. Yeah, it's out. All right. Oh, man. No, I've been reporting this one like 2 or 3 times over. Like, I'm nowhere near Bachman Drive. I don't know why it's saying that. Anyway, you clearly don't know where I'm at. There we go. Hit the button. Once again, it's off, way off. I wonder why that guy was, maybe he was trying to stop and he thought maybe I needed some help. Well, that was kind of cool if that was true. Mostly I just think he was scared because he didn't know what was going on here. Anyway, got him to slow down. What is it with this goddamn thing asking me for captchas? Like, do you not believe I am who I say I am? Anyway, I had a little free time, so not really. Every time I make a ticket, it's one other ticket I'm not creating. But I need a break. I think I'm gonna take a break this month. It's just, I'll start slowing down a little bit. I'm always in a hurry to get this stuff done. But the reality is Dallas is going to be a slow project. The only thing I can think is maybe the city or the airport turns off that light at night. But it doesn't make any sense because they're not supposed to be taking off and landing after, you know, whatever. The bottom line is, why then? Why? I think the reason I can see things clearer is because there's less light pollution out here. When you're here, you can see everything. But after they turn the lights off. It's not that my eyes got better. It's not that there was less light pollution. Like, I'm thinking about all the way back over there, you can see all the lights. All those places are closed right now, but they still got their lights turned on. Say to yourself, well, you see all of this stuff, why don't you call? No, before you finish that sentence, imagine a world where there are no cops. Who would you call? So I'm saying you don't even have to imagine that world in Dallas. There are no cops. You know, right now, technically, the park is closed. It's been closed for an hour and 30 minutes. But do you see anybody coming around here telling me that? Hey, man, you can't be here. I think that's what TV has. It gives us this warped reality that there's law and order on all the time. Like, hey, look, the guy broke this law, and immediately there was somebody there to catch him. It's like, what really happens is, just about everybody's left in their own recognizance, and something happens, and you may not know about it until 2 or 3 days later. Now, if I had a community here and there was some kind of citizen patrol, and I'm walking around and it's me, a couple other people, and we got a pipeline to the cops, and we're telling them, hey, I'm over here at this time, this location, blah blah blah, I saw a suspicious looking character walking around, you guys might want to check that out. Or, well, thank you, unit, blah 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 blah, you know, citizen, blah 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 blah, we're on it. Boom. Instead, you call and you talk to some exhausted dispatch operator. I don't know, I'm down here and something looks suspicious over here, and I'm at this location. Well, sir, do you hear any screaming? Oh no. Okay, well, we'll send a unit out, and then just hangs up. They didn't say they'd send out a unit today. They didn't say they were going to send out a unit anytime in the immediate future. They just said they'll send a unit out. Maybe months later, you know, some guy just happens to be driving through there on his way through the donut shop. Oh, I saw that you drew through there. Let me go ahead and close this out. I don't get a service ticket from the police. You tell them something's going on, and then you just never hear about it ever again. Technically, what I'm supposed to be able to do is go out there and put an open record request in. Hey, what happened with this? Okay, so this is the remnant of the old Bachman Lake. Two barachos mean mugging me. So yeah, this is the only remnant that you'll have, that this is the old Bachman Lake. And this probably won't change. It'll be another decade. I've seen the plan. But just because I've seen the plan doesn't mean they're going to do the plan. You'll notice that when they do that rezoning thing that I'm looking at, we didn't have 3 meetings so far. They're talking about maybe we're going to have another one. I'm like, oh, okay. I got 1 meeting about how they were going to change this around. Yeah, the comment I heard was, yes, there was some kind of sidewalk here at one point. I was like, oh, okay, cool. I don't know what it'd take me to dig it up. I'm just thinking about where I would put there'd be a pile of dirt over there. It'd take about 3 weeks. No, it would not. That's a 2-month project. Well, the way you're doing things, 1 hour a week. Oh, man. Anyway.
Wait.
I guess the question was, if I had $1 billion, what would I be doing? Be widening out that, I'd be making that more bike accessible, or digging up that sidewalk. I put that solar array that I asked the city, hey, where can I put this solar array that I'm donating? My $50,000 solar array. See, that's not the way Dallas works. You got the city manager who will sit there and say, well, you know, how do you make that interesting to me? Why she's wet? Why she's licking her lips and doing this with her fingers? You know, you got to sweeten the pot for me. What's in it for me? I don't know, Kim. What do you want? Give me $250,000 and you can have your array. And I was like, $250,000? That's 5 times more. Old Kimmy was doing some crooked shit. The city council, like they said, they acted like, oh, how could you do these secret deals? I was like, that's your girl. You hired her. You put out a search for like 2 weeks and you said, we can't find anybody better. I guess it'll be her. I was like, you didn't even try. You know, I just hired somebody. You hired the devil you knew. And I got surprised when the devil did what the devil does. But as bad as Dallas is, we're not Chicago. Not yet, anyway. The city government's so inept they couldn't even keep the bears. They slaughtered their cash cow. And you think about it, maybe not even 100 years from now, about a generation from now, 20, 30 years, they're going to look back at the people that were in charge in Chicago now, and they were like, these were the guys that gave us the example of how not to do it again. They're going to be the bar of how low you can go. Sold parking in their city for 75 years. Lost the Bears to Indiana. We're pretty much powerless to stop ice from coming in. But it's just crazy that that's a place that's so much money. Like, the governor's a billionaire. you gotta, you know, kind of lean back for a second and think about that. The governor is a billionaire. As if that's something humble. Well, you know, he's only worth $1 billion. Only. I'm not even sure who was supposed to see that. Like, I could barely read it. Just kind of reached up there, tore it, and said something in Spanish. I don't, you know, I'm not going to bother to figure it out. I can't tell. They were just being, like I said, it's a combination of defiant and dumb. Anyway. I guess these ladies do a good enough business. They've been here a while. Most of the time people put stuff up here and they're here for a minute and then they disappear. What used to be there? It was some kind of travel agency. The only thing we got over here that's all night. I'm kind of scared to think about what, like I said, if I head up in there, what does it look like? Is it just straight up trash, or is it like, you know, they got it still looking pretty nice? Because Planet Fitness, their whole thing was they didn't want lunks over there. And when I used to work out over at Valley Stella Fitness, that's all they had, man. I went in there, weights all over the floor. One dude, he was over there, he was using up just about every goddamn plate in the gym to do bench, and it took him 15 minutes to do each set. And the thing that really pissed me off is he was one of them ones that he'd load the bar up, move it about 2 inches, and then put it back up again and rack it like he had done something serious. Oh, I got 425 in this bar. I'm a stud muffin. I was like, you unracked it and racked it. That's not lifting. Anyway. That was one of the bad times. You go in the sauna, and you go up in there, and they had 50 people in the sauna. I signed up for about a month of that, and I said, you know what, it's raining. I signed up for that about a month of that, and the guy said, he said, what's going on? He says, I said, man, it's just, he said, and before I could even finish, he says, I know. I said, okay. And you don't even have to say it, you know why nobody wants to work out over here. And I remember saying to myself, I was like, there's no way I'm going to be out here when the rain's coming through. Shit. Negro, you just don't know. I guess I got 30 minutes before it gets hot and heavy, but I'm already in it. Like somebody was doing donuts over here.